Imagine a life where your heart is calm, even in chaos. Imagine waking up each day without fear, without anger, without confusion. Imagine feeling light inside, free from the weight of expectations, regrets, and endless desires. What if the path to such peace isn't far away? What if it has been waiting quietly for you for years? Have you ever asked yourself, why does life feel so heavy at times? Why do we suffer even when everything around us seems fine? Why does happiness come and go so quickly? These questions aren't new. Thousands of years ago, one man sat beneath a tree and asked the same things. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, the one we know today as the Buddha. Let's take a simple example. Think of a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays cloudy. But when you let it rest, the mud settles and the water becomes clear. Our mind is just like that, always stirred by thoughts, emotions, desires, and fears. But what if you could just let it settle? That's when clarity comes. That's where peace begins. That's what Buddha realized. Welcome to Wisdom Writings, a space where we explore ancient teachings that still heal modern hearts. If you find meaning here, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. We truly value your presence. Please drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice might inspire someone else. And if you wish to stay positive through this entire journey, comment Namo Buddhaye below. Let that be your quiet promise to stay with us till the very end. In this first part, we begin not just a video, but a journey. A path that doesn't demand blind belief, but invites you to see for yourself. Buddha never said, "Follow me." He said, "Come and see." And that's what we'll do, step by step. As we move forward, remember, this isn't just about learning. It's about changing how you see your world, how you hold your pain, and how you live your peace. The story of Siddhartha, from prince to enlightened one. Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by beautiful landscapes and towering mountains, there was a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama. He was born into a life of luxury, with everything anyone could desire: fine clothes, delicious food, and grand palaces. His father, King Suddhodana, had made sure that his son was protected from the world's troubles. Siddhartha lived a sheltered life, unaware of pain, suffering, or death. He had no reason to question anything. His life seemed perfect, and the world outside seemed like a distant dream. But as he grew older, Siddhartha began to feel a restlessness deep within. It was as though there was something missing, something his life of luxury could not satisfy. One day, he decided to venture outside the palace walls. He had heard whispers of the world beyond, and his curiosity grew. He wanted to understand it, to know what lay outside the comfort and safety of his royal life. The first thing Siddhartha encountered was an old man. The man's face was wrinkled, his hair gray, and his body frail. Siddhartha had never seen anyone like him before. He asked a charioteer, "What is this?" The charioteer replied, "This is the reality of old age. One day, every living being will grow old, just like this man." Siddhartha was shocked. He had never thought about aging. His world had always been one of beauty and vitality. But now, he could see the truth with his own eyes. Everything, no matter how perfect, changes. It grows old, it weakens, and eventually, it passes away. Siddhartha felt a deep sadness in his heart, but he was determined to understand more. The next time he ventured out, Siddhartha saw a sick man lying on the side of the road. His body was covered in sores, his face twisted in pain. Siddhartha asked again, "What is this?" The charioteer replied, "This is the reality of illness. No one can escape suffering. Everyone, no matter their wealth or power, will experience pain and sickness." Siddhartha felt a deep unease. He had never known sickness, never felt pain in the way this man did. The world he had lived in had always been perfect, and yet now he saw it was fragile. Even the strongest body could fall ill and break down. Siddhartha felt overwhelmed by the sorrow of it all. but he still did not understand. There had to be more to life than suffering and sickness, didn't there? On another journey outside the palace, Siddhartha came across a funeral procession. The body of a man was being carried away, and the mourners were crying. Siddhartha felt a shiver run down his spine. He had never seen death before. He asked the charioteer, "What is this?" The answer was clear. This is death. All beings, no matter how rich, how strong, or how wise, must one day die. Death comes to all, without exception. Siddhartha was stunned. He could no longer deny the harsh truth that life was fleeting. He had grown up in a world where everything seemed perfect, where death was distant and unknown. But now he saw it was inevitable. All things, wealth, beauty, health, and even life, would eventually fade. The young prince felt a deep unease, a sense that something must be done to understand this truth. Finally, Siddhartha saw something that gave him a small spark of hope. He saw a wandering monk, calm and peaceful, walking barefoot through the streets. The monk's face was serene, and his eyes held no fear. He seemed untouched by the pain, illness, and death that Siddhartha had just witnessed. The prince asked the charioteer, "Who is this man?" The charioteer replied, "This is a person who has renounced the world. He has let go of all attachments and desires. He has chosen a life of simplicity, focusing only on the inner peace of the mind." Siddhartha's heart stirred. He had never imagined a life like that, one where peace was not dependent on wealth, beauty, or health. A life where freedom came not from external conditions, but from within. The thought was both intriguing and frightening. Could such a life bring peace in a world that seemed full of suffering? That moment changed everything for Siddhartha. He realized that the life he had been living, a life of pleasure and privilege, was not the answer. He knew that something greater awaited him, something that could only be found by stepping away from the distractions of the world. He needed to understand the nature of suffering and find a way to end it. So, Siddhartha made a bold decision. He left his palace, his family, and his life of comfort behind. He set out on a journey to find the truth. He sought the answers to the questions that had been haunting him. Why do we suffer? Is there a way to end suffering? Can we find lasting happiness, no matter the circumstances of our lives? This was the beginning of Siddhartha's journey from a young prince to an enlightened being, the Buddha. He spent years in search of answers, studying under various teachers, practicing meditation, and learning from the world wisdom. But no matter how hard he tried, he still felt something was missing. He had learned many techniques, but nothing brought him the lasting peace he sought. One day, after years of searching, Siddhartha sat down beneath a tree in deep meditation, vowing not to rise until he had found the truth. He focused all his mind and heart on understanding the nature of suffering and the path to peace. For days, he meditated, facing the temptations and distractions that arose in his mind. But Siddhartha remained focused, determined to reach the deepest understanding. And then, one night, as he sat in profound stillness, a deep realization dawned upon him. Siddhartha saw the truth of life, how suffering arises, how it can be overcome, and how one can live in a way that brings peace, compassion, and wisdom. He had reached enlightenment. He had found the answers he had been seeking. From that moment on, Siddhartha was known as the Buddha, the awakened one. He had discovered the path to freedom from suffering, and he spent the rest of his life sharing this wisdom with others. His teachings spread across the world, offering hope to anyone who sought peace, understanding, and a way to live free from the pain that life so often brings. And so, the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the prince who became the Buddha, is not just a tale from the past. It is a story for each of us. Just like Siddhartha, we all face the challenges of life, the questions, the doubts, and the struggles. But his journey shows us that there is always a way out of suffering. There is always a path to peace if we are willing to seek it. The Buddha's journey wasn't just about leaving the palace. It was about seeking the truth of life itself. And that is a journey each of us must take. The way of the Buddha is not about escaping the world. It's about seeing the world as it truly is and finding peace within it. Siddhartha's story invites us to question, to seek, and to awaken to the deeper truths that lie within us all. Suffering and its roots, understanding dukkha. What is suffering? It's something we all know too well, something that we can't avoid in this life. Whether it's the pain of losing someone we love, the frustration of not reaching our goals, or the quiet ache of feeling unsatisfied with what we have, suffering is a part of every human life. It seems like no matter how hard we try to escape it, suffering always finds a way back into our hearts. But why? Why is it that no matter how much we do or how much we get, the suffering remains? Siddhartha Gautama, before he became the Buddha, asked the same question. He saw the world around him, filled with people struggling with illness, aging, and death. He witnessed how the rich and powerful, the poor and weak, all experienced pain in their own ways. There was no one who was untouched by suffering. And he realized that suffering isn't just a random event, it's part of life itself. It's universal. Everyone experiences it, no matter who they are or where they come from. But Buddha didn't just accept suffering as an unavoidable fact of life. He wanted to understand it deeply. He wanted to know why it happens, how it happens, and most importantly, if there was a way to overcome it. And that's where his teachings became revolutionary. He discovered that suffering has roots. It doesn't just happen randomly or without reason. There are causes behind it, causes that could be understood, examined, and, most importantly, transformed. The first root of suffering, as Buddha explained, is desire. It's our endless wanting, our craving for things we don't have or things we fear losing, that keeps us trapped in suffering. Think about it. When you want something, whether it's material things, success, love, or approval, it creates a sense of lack within you. You're constantly thinking about what you don't have, what you need, or what you fear will slip away from your grasp. This craving pulls at your heart, causing restlessness and dissatisfaction. Even when you get what you want, it never lasts. You soon find something else to desire, and the cycle continues. Desire is like a flame that keeps burning, never allowing you to feel truly content. But it's not just desire for things. It's also desire for control. We all want to control our lives, our circumstances, and the people around us. We want things to happen a certain way, and when they don't, we get anxious, frustrated, or angry. We want to hold on tightly to everything we love to prevent any pain or loss. But life doesn't work that way. Everything changes, everything fades. People grow older, seasons pass, and situations shift. Holding on too tightly only leads to suffering because it's impossible to control everything. The more we try to hold on, the more we struggle when things inevitably slip away. The second root of suffering is ignorance, not understanding how life truly works. This ignorance isn't about a lack of knowledge or intelligence. It's about not seeing things as they really are. We often think that our desires will bring us happiness, that achieving our goals will lead to lasting peace. But the truth is, the things we crave are temporary. They come and go, and so does our happiness. We also think that we are separate from everything around us, that we are individuals living in isolation, disconnected from the world. But in reality, we are all deeply connected, and our actions, thoughts, and feelings have an impact on the world around us. Ignorance keeps us from seeing this connection, this truth. It leads us to make choices that only perpetuate our suffering. The third root of suffering is attachment. Attachment is the deep bond we form with things, people, and even ideas. We become attached to our identities, to our possessions, to our relationships, and to our beliefs. And this attachment is what makes us vulnerable. When something we love is threatened or taken away, it feels as if a part of us is lost. The more attached we are, the more pain we experience when we face loss. But attachment doesn't just cause pain in moments of loss. It also keeps us trapped in a cycle of craving. We attach to things because we believe they will bring us happiness, but in the end, they only bind us to a constant cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Now, when Buddha discovered these roots of suffering, desire, ignorance, and attachment, he didn't stop there. He didn't just point out the problem and leave it at that. He wanted to know, is there a way out? Can we end our suffering? And the answer he found was yes. There is a way to transform our relationship with suffering. There is a path that leads us to freedom. This path is not about avoiding life, escaping pain, or pretending that suffering doesn't exist. It's about understanding suffering, seeing it clearly, and learning how to respond to it in a way that doesn't keep us trapped in the cycle. The Buddha taught that in order to overcome suffering, we must change our relationship with desire, ignorance, and attachment. Instead of endlessly chasing after things that don't bring lasting happiness, we must learn to find contentment with what we have. Instead of trying to control every aspect of our lives, we must practice letting go, accepting the things we cannot change, and being present in the moment. Instead of clinging to our identities, possessions, and beliefs, we must cultivate detachment, not by rejecting everything, but by seeing it as it truly is, impermanent, fleeting, and ever-changing. When we begin to shift our mindset and our actions in this way, suffering doesn't disappear, it transforms. Instead of suffering being a constant weight on our shoulders, it becomes a teacher. It shows us where we are attached, where we are ignorant, and where we are craving. It invites us to wake up and see the world with clear eyes, without the fog of desire clouding our vision. And when we can see the world in this way, we can respond to life not with fear, anger, or frustration, but with compassion, wisdom, and peace. In the end, understanding suffering is the first step toward freedom. It's not about running from pain, but learning to face it with courage and clarity. It's not about avoiding challenges, but meeting them with a mind that is peaceful and open. It's not about finding a way to control life, but learning to flow with it, accepting both the good and the bad, the joy and the sorrow, as part of the great dance of existence. So, the next time you find yourself in the midst of suffering, whether it's a small inconvenience or a great loss, remember this: suffering is not the enemy. It's a guide, a teacher, showing you where you're stuck, where you are attached, and where you need to grow. And when you begin to see suffering in this way, you will start to experience a transformation, not just in your mind, but in your life itself. The middle way, balance beyond extremes. In life, it's easy to get lost in the extremes. We chase after everything, sometimes too eagerly, sometimes too desperately. We try to hold on to things, trying to control them. Then we pull back, afraid to get too close, afraid to care too much. But in the end, both extremes leave us feeling empty. Neither chasing nor withdrawing brings us peace. The Buddha saw this clearly. When he first left his life as a prince, he wanted to find the meaning of life. He experienced everything: luxury beyond measure, the comforts of wealth, and the freedom of a royal life. But when he looked closer, he found that these pleasures didn't give him lasting peace. They only left him wanting more, never satisfied. So, he decided to live the opposite way. He renounced everything. He left behind the comforts, the riches, the power. He lived as an ascetic, starving himself, pushing his body and mind to extremes, believing that if he could endure enough suffering, he would find the truth. But even in this, he found no peace. Extreme suffering didn't bring enlightenment either. In fact, it only made things harder. His body weakened, his mind clouded, and his spirit became overwhelmed. It was in this moment, in the depths of his struggle, that he realized something profound. Neither indulgence nor extreme self-denial leads to happiness. The answer lay in the middle, the path of balance, the middle way. The middle way is not a path of avoiding extremes in the sense of playing it safe, but rather a way of living where you don't give in to the endless push for more or the total withdrawal from life. It's the understanding that life doesn't have to be either all or nothing. You don't have to be constantly chasing something, nor do you have to be running from everything. You don't have to be rich to be happy, but you don't have to live in poverty to find peace either. This doesn't mean you should hold back from enjoying life, but that you should enjoy it without letting it control you. The middle way is about knowing how much is enough. It's about not being carried away by cravings or fears, but living in a way where you can savor what's in front of you without clinging to it. For example, think about food. If you overeat, you might feel full and even sick, but if you eat too little, you feel weak and unsatisfied. But when you eat just enough, neither too much nor too little, your body feels nourished and your mind is clear. Life is the same. It's not about finding the perfect amount of money, friends, or success. It's about finding a balance where you're content and not constantly running in circles. In this way, the middle way frees you from the trap of seeking more and more. You no longer need to prove anything to the world or yourself. The need to compare, to judge, to compete, these fall away. You live with the understanding that you are already enough. You find joy in small things, in simple moments, and you don't need external approval or endless possessions to feel complete. But balance isn't just about material things. It's also about how we treat our emotions. Think of anger. If you hold on to it, it burns you inside, destroying your peace. But if you suppress it completely, it might bubble up in unhealthy ways. The middle way teaches us to acknowledge anger, to see it clearly, but not to let it control us. It teaches us to act from a place of calm, understanding rather than from raw emotion. The middle way is a way of life. It's a practice that starts in the smallest moments of your day. When you wake up, don't jump into the rush of the world immediately. Take a moment of balance. When you go to work, don't let the stress of deadlines make you anxious. Find your center, even in the busiest moments. When you talk to others, don't let your words be driven by competition or the desire to be right. Speak from your heart, from a place of understanding. In relationships, the middle way teaches us that it's not about clinging to others out of fear of being alone, nor about withdrawing completely. It's about being present, but also giving the other person the space they need to be themselves. It's about letting go of the need to control others and allowing them to walk their own path, just as you walk yours. In your work, don't overwork yourself out of a need for validation. But also, don't be lazy or avoid responsibility. Find a healthy balance between doing your best and knowing when to step back and take a rest. The middle way doesn't require us to reject the world. Instead, it asks us to engage with the world, but in a way that does not bind us to it. It's not about choosing one side of life over the other. It's about knowing when to act, when to speak, when to give, and when to rest. It's a state of harmony where nothing is forced and everything comes naturally, without resistance. This wisdom of balance doesn't just change how you live day to day. It transforms how you understand your entire existence. You begin to realize that you are not here to chase an ideal of happiness that's always out of reach. You are here to live fully, but with ease. The middle way shows you that life doesn't have to be a battle or a race. It's about walking with grace, knowing that you're already whole, and that everything you need is already within you. When you live the middle way, you begin to see the beauty of each moment without clinging to it, without fearing its loss. You start to see life as a flowing river, always moving, always changing, but never rushing or dragging. It just flows naturally. And when you let go of resistance and stop fighting, you realize that the peace you were searching for has always been there, right where you are. In the end, the middle way is not just a path to peace, it's a path to freedom. It frees you from the chains of extreme desires and fears, allowing you to live with clarity, simplicity, and joy. It's the way of living that Buddha discovered for himself and then shared with the world. Not because it's the only way, but because it is the way that brings true peace to the heart and mind. The Four Noble Truths, foundation of enlightenment. As we continue our journey through the Buddhist teachings, we come to the heart of his wisdom, the Four Noble Truths. These truths are like the foundation of a house, steady and solid. Without them, everything else in Buddhism can feel confusing or even irrelevant. But with them, every lesson becomes clear, every step towards peace becomes meaningful. These truths are not meant to be taken as beliefs or dogma. They're meant to be understood through your own experience. They are a map, not the destination. The first truth is the truth of suffering, or dukkha. It's simple, yet profound. Life involves suffering. Suffering comes in many forms: physical pain, emotional hurt, loss, disappointment, and, yes, even the quiet unease that arises when things are good, but you feel something is missing. Buddha didn't say life is only suffering. He didn't say everything is bad, but he pointed out that suffering is part of life. It's not something that happens to us alone. It's universal. No one is exempt. Whether you're rich or poor, healthy or ill, young or old, suffering finds its way into everyone's life in one form or another. This truth doesn't want to depress you. It simply asks you to see the world as it really is. Life has its joys, but it also has its pains. If you know this, you can deal with suffering when it comes without being overwhelmed by it. The second truth is the cause of suffering: craving. We suffer because we want. We want pleasure, comfort, recognition, success, and security. But we also fear losing these things. We crave things we don't have, and we cling to things we do have, believing they will bring us lasting happiness. But craving doesn't bring peace. It brings a constant cycle of wanting and not having, or having and fearing loss. Buddha didn't say wanting is bad. He said wanting without understanding leads to suffering. It's the attachment to desire that creates the pain. For example, you might desire a new job, a better relationship, or a beautiful home. These desires are natural, but when you attach your happiness to them, you find that no matter how much you get, you always want more. And when you lose something you've attached your heart to, the pain is immense. The third truth is that suffering can end. This is the truth of cessation. Buddha didn't leave us in despair. He showed us the possibility of freedom from suffering. The good news is that we don't have to remain trapped in craving, in frustration, or in pain. There's a way out. But the way out isn't through more craving or more chasing. The way out is through understanding and letting go. When you let go of the constant need to cling to things, your mind becomes peaceful. When you stop demanding life be a certain way, you stop suffering. It's not about avoiding the ups and downs of life. It's about no longer being controlled by them. In simple terms, this truth says that peace comes when you stop holding on so tightly to what you think you need. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you could just let go of needing things to be perfect, needing things to be in your control. Buddha taught that freedom is possible, and it's already inside you. The fourth truth is the path that leads to the cessation of suffering, the Eightfold Path. This is the practical side of Buddhist teachings. It's not enough to simply understand the truths. You need a way to live them. The Eightfold Path is a guide, a clear set of practices that can help you end your suffering and live with greater peace and wisdom. But the path isn't something you follow mechanically. It's something you integrate into your life, day by day, with mindfulness and intention. Now, I want you to understand something deeply important. The Four Noble Truths are not just concepts to study. They are a call to action. They invite you to look at your life, to understand your suffering, and to take steps toward peace. This isn't about gaining more knowledge or accumulating wisdom. It's about transforming your heart and mind. Buddhist teachings ask us to live these truths, not just think about them. They are not theories to be debated. They are truths to be experienced. When you reflect on the first truth, you begin to understand suffering not as something to avoid or escape from, but as a natural part of life. You accept that pain, loss, and discomfort are part of what it means to be human. You stop pretending that everything should be perfect. This acceptance gives you strength because it removes the constant fight against reality. Life, with all its ups and downs, becomes something you can flow with rather than resist. The second truth reveals the root of suffering, craving. When you look closely, you see that everything we do is driven by desire. We seek pleasure and avoid pain, often without ever questioning why. We want success, comfort, love, and recognition because we believe they will make us happy. But Buddha taught that these desires are endless, and chasing them never leads to lasting peace. Desire is like a flame that keeps burning, and no matter how much you feed it, it will never be satisfied. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have desires. It means you shouldn't let them control you. You don't need to eliminate all desire, but you must learn to observe it without getting lost in it. When you realize the third truth, the cessation of suffering, you begin to see that peace is not about getting everything you want. It's about letting go of the attachment to what you think you need. This isn't about renouncing the world. It's about seeing it clearly and responding to it wisely. You can still enjoy life, love, and success, but you do so without clinging. You enjoy them as they are, without holding on to them for dear life. This letting go is freedom, and it's something you can experience right now, in this very moment. Finally, the fourth truth, the Eightfold Path, shows you how to live this freedom. It's not just about understanding, it's about practice. It's about living with right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Each of these steps guides you towards greater clarity and peace. As you practice the Eightfold Path, you will find that the world doesn't change, but you will. And as you change, you will see the world in a new light. A lighter light, a clearer light. The Four Noble Truths are not a burden. They're the key to understanding yourself and your place in the world. They are an invitation to live with more awareness, more kindness, and more wisdom. They offer a path not to escape life's challenges, but to live through them with greater ease. So, take these teachings to heart. Reflect on them. Apply them to your life. As you do, you will begin to experience a deeper peace, one that comes not from avoiding suffering, but from understanding it, embracing it, and finally, letting it go. The Eightfold Path, the way to liberation. Imagine you've been given a map that leads to freedom, to peace, to the end of suffering. This map is clear, simple, and reliable. It's not a mysterious puzzle you need to solve, nor is it hidden away in some far-off land. It's a path you can walk in your own life, right here, right now. The Eightfold Path, as taught by the Buddha, is that map. And just like any path, it has steps. These steps are the guide to living in a way that ends suffering and brings true happiness. Now, let's understand these steps, not as things you must do in a forced way, but as natural ways of living that bring balance, peace, and wisdom into your life. These are not rigid rules or difficult tasks. They're principles, small shifts in how we live that change everything. Imagine walking on a smooth road, one step after another, with each step bringing you closer to calm and clarity. This is what the Eightfold Path offers. The first step is right understanding. This is about seeing the world as it truly is, not as we wish it to be or how others tell us it should be. Right understanding is recognizing the truth of life's impermanence, the reality of suffering, and the interconnectedness of all beings. It's about accepting that everything changes, that nothing stays the same, and that peace doesn't come from avoiding suffering, but from understanding it. Then comes right intention. This step is about what's going on in your heart. Your intentions shape your actions, so what's in your heart matters deeply. Right intention is the intention to live with compassion, kindness, and harmlessness. It's choosing to live with a clear mind, free from harmful desires, and focusing on things that uplift you and those around you. It's an intention of peace, a wish to bring light into the world rather than darkness. The third step is right speech. This is the power of words. Words that heal, words that harm, words that can change the world. Right speech teaches us to speak truthfully, kindly, and with respect. It's about avoiding lies, gossip, harsh words, and useless chatter. Every word you speak is a seed, and the words you choose plant either peace or conflict. So, speak with mindfulness and awareness, knowing that your words shape the world around you. Right action is the next step. This is about how we act in the world, our choices, our behaviors, and how we treat others. Right action means living in a way that is harmless, ethical, and thoughtful. It's about making choices that align with compassion, that support the well-being of yourself and others. Every action we take, no matter how small, creates a ripple in the world. So, choose actions that build harmony, not chaos. Then comes right livelihood. This is the kind of work you do and how it impacts the world. Right livelihood is about earning a living in a way that does no harm to others. It's about choosing a profession or path that supports your values, one that brings good to the world instead of harm. Work is a large part of our lives, so the way we earn a living matters. It's about doing work that contributes positively, that helps rather than harms, and that aligns with your deeper sense of purpose. The sixth step is right effort. Right effort is about persistence. It's the effort to cultivate good qualities in your mind, patience, wisdom, kindness, and to discard harmful qualities, anger, greed, and ignorance. Right effort isn't about forcing things or being hard on yourself. It's about gently and consistently working toward your better self. Like a gardener tending to a garden, you put in the effort to remove weeds and nourish the plants. It's a steady, patient approach to growth. Next is right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is about being fully present in each moment. It's the practice of paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and actions without judgment. When we are mindful, we don't get lost in the past or the future. We're simply here, now, in the present moment. Right mindfulness helps you to notice when your mind begins to wander into unhelpful patterns, allowing you to gently bring it back to the present. It's a practice that brings clarity and calm to the mind, reducing stress and anxiety. Finally, there is right concentration. This step is about focusing your mind with clarity and depth. Right concentration is the ability to concentrate deeply on one thing at a time, whether it's a task, a conversation, or simply your breath. When your mind is concentrated, it becomes clear, sharp, and peaceful. You can focus without being distracted by irrelevant thoughts. This is a skill that takes time and practice to develop, but once cultivated, it brings great peace and insight. The Eightfold Path is not a list of things to do. It's a map to follow. Each step is a natural progression, and as you walk, you'll find that the path itself begins to change you. With right understanding, your heart will open to new possibilities. With right intention, your actions will be guided by kindness. With right speech, your words will begin to heal rather than hurt. As you practice right action, you'll find yourself living more harmoniously. Right livelihood will bring a sense of purpose and integrity to your work. Right effort will inspire you to keep going, no matter the challenges. Right mindfulness will help you stay grounded, and right concentration will give you the clarity you need to see things as they truly are. Walking the Eightfold Path isn't about reaching perfection. It's about continuous growth, continuous awareness, and continuous effort. Like a river, the path will flow, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, but always moving toward a place of peace. You don't need to force it. All you have to do is keep walking step by step, knowing that with each step, you're bringing yourself closer to the freedom and peace that the Buddha discovered beneath the Bodhi tree. So, as you go about your daily life, remember that the Eightfold Path is not a far-off goal. It's something you can begin practicing right now. Each decision, each action, each thought can be a part of the path. It's about living in alignment with wisdom, kindness, and clarity, and over time, this path will lead you to the freedom you seek. The power of mindfulness, living in the now. Let's begin with a question. When was the last time you truly experienced the present moment? I don't mean hearing a sound or noticing the time, but truly living in that moment. Most of us are caught in the past or the future, replaying old memories or worrying about what's to come. But the present moment, right now, is all we really have. And yet, it's the one thing we often ignore. Mindfulness, as Buddha taught, is simply being fully aware of the present. It's about noticing things as they are, without judgment, without trying to change them. It's not about trying to achieve something. It's about experiencing life exactly as it is, in its rawest, most beautiful form. Think of this for a moment. You're sitting, breathing, just as you are right now. What's around you? What sound can you hear? How does the air feel against your skin? Are your thoughts racing, or can you find peace in simply being? We often spend our lives in a rush, moving from one task to the next, but mindfulness asks us to slow down. It asks us to be with ourselves, just as we are. The Buddha realized something incredibly simple, yet powerful. Most of our suffering comes from our attachments to things, people, ideas, and desires. We cling to the past, worried about the future, and forget that this very moment is the only place we can actually live. The past is gone. The future hasn't come yet. But right now here we are alive, and that is where mindfulness leads us back to the present moment. When we practice mindfulness, we stop chasing after the next thing, the next goal, the next desire. Instead, we learn to be content with what we have. We begin to see things as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. It's like watching a flower bloom. If you're constantly looking for the next flower, you miss the one right in front of you. But if you stand still, breathe deeply, and observe, you see the beauty in the simplest of things. This isn't always easy. In fact, it's a practice, something we need to work on every day. Our minds are busy. They jump from one thought to the next, like a monkey swinging from branch to branch. But mindfulness is about catching that monkey. It's about training ourselves to stay with the present, to observe our thoughts without being swept away by them. It's about finding stillness in the chaos. Let's try something together. Right now, take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, and then slowly exhale. As you do this, let your mind settle. Focus only on the sensation of breathing. If your thoughts wander, simply notice them and gently bring your attention back to your breath. No judgment, no frustration, just acceptance. This practice of mindfulness can transform our lives. It allows us to break free from the constant cycle of craving and aversion. Instead of always wanting something more, we learn to appreciate what is. Instead of running from discomfort, we learn to sit with it, to accept it as part of the human experience. The Buddha taught that the key to happiness is not in gaining more, but in letting go. Letting go of our expectations. Letting go of our need for control. Letting go of our constant desire for something better. When we stop chasing, we begin to find peace. But mindfulness isn't just about meditation or sitting quietly. It's about how we approach everything we do. It's in the way we eat, the way we walk, the way we listen, and the way we speak. Mindfulness can be practiced in every moment of the day. Whether you're washing dishes, driving, or having a conversation, mindfulness asks you to be fully present in that moment. To feel the water as it touches your hands, to notice the sounds around you, to listen deeply to the person you're speaking with. When we bring mindfulness into our everyday lives, we begin to live more fully. We experience each moment with clarity, without distraction. We stop worrying about the past or the future, and instead, we focus on what is in front of us. This is when life becomes more real, more vibrant, more meaningful. Buddhist teachings about mindfulness aren't just about peace, they're also about freedom. When we live in the present, we free ourselves from the burden of overthinking, from the cycle of wanting and fearing. We become less attached to the ups and downs of life. And in that freedom, we discover our true nature. At first, this might feel difficult. It might feel unnatural, even impossible. Our minds are so used to jumping from thought to thought. But with practice, mindfulness becomes a habit. And as we continue, we begin to notice the subtle shifts inside us. The moments of stillness amidst the chaos, the growing sense of peace, and the ability to see the world with fresh eyes. It's important to remember that mindfulness isn't about being perfect. It's not about always being calm or always being still. It's about being present, no matter what is happening around you. It's about accepting yourself fully, without judgment, without striving to be something else. It's about seeing life for what it is, beautiful, messy, imperfect, and embracing it all. As you continue on your journey, take moments throughout your day to practice mindfulness. Notice your breath. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice your thoughts, and simply observe them without attaching to them. With each moment you practice, you're stepping closer to the peace Buddha spoke of. And in time, you will begin to feel the power of mindfulness, transforming your life in ways you never expected. Remember, the present moment is all we have. It's where we can find peace, where we can find freedom, and where we can truly live. And the more you embrace mindfulness, the more you will experience the world with clarity and joy. So, take a deep breath, let go of the past and the future, and be here now. This is the power of mindfulness. This is the path to peace. Karma and intention, seeds we sow. Karma, a word we often hear but rarely fully understand. It's not just a belief or a concept, but a living truth, a principle of life. In simple terms, karma means that everything we do, say, or think creates a ripple in the universe. It's like planting a seed. The seed you plant will eventually grow into something. The type of seed you plant and the care you give it will determine the kind of plant that grows. Karma works in exactly the same way. Every action, every word, every thought you put into the world, whether good or bad, has a lasting effect. But karma doesn't just mean that if you do something bad will happen to you. It's much deeper than that. It's about intention. It's about the underlying motivation behind every action. Imagine you are walking through a field and you come across a beautiful flower. If you simply admire it and walk on, that's one kind of action. But if you pluck it, take it home, and place in a vase, what happens? The flower dies much faster. You took something beautiful, but for selfish reasons. Your action, though seemingly harmless, has consequences. But what if you admire the flower and simply let it be, allowing it to live on its own? That's a different action, driven by appreciation and respect. The flower remains where it is, and you leave with a peaceful heart. Karma isn't just about the results, it's about the intention behind the action. It's like cooking a meal. You can cook with love, with care, and with the intention to nourish others. Or you can cook simply because you're hungry. The energy you put into your cooking will affect the final result. If you cook with love, that love will be felt by the person who eats the meal. If you cook with frustration or anger, that energy will also be present in the meal, and it will affect the person who eats it. Everything we do in life has an energy attached to it, and this energy ripples out into the world. Think about how you interact with the people around you. Have you ever had a conversation where someone was clearly upset, but they didn't say anything? You could feel in the air, couldn't you? The energy was heavy, and it affected you. On the other hand, have you ever spoken to someone who was kind and open? Their energy felt light and refreshing. and you left the conversation feeling better. That's karma in action. Whether it's spoken or unspoken, the energy we put out has an effect on the world and those around us. It's easy to blame external circumstances for our suffering. We look at the world and point to things outside ourselves, but Buddha taught us that everything begins within. What's happening inside of us is what creates our reality. When we feel anger or hatred towards someone, we're the ones who suffer. We hold on to that negative energy, and it eats away at us. But when we choose love, forgiveness, and compassion, we open ourselves to peace. We plant good seeds, and in time, those seeds will grow into something beautiful. The truth about karma is that it doesn't happen in an instant. It's not a simple transaction where you get what you deserve right away. Sometimes the seeds you plant take time to grow, but eventually they will. If you plant seeds of kindness, compassion, and honesty, those seeds will bear fruit. Your life will change in ways you can't even predict. You may not see the immediate rewards, but trust that they are coming. This is the beauty of karma. It's not about immediate results. It's about long-term growth. Buddha taught that the mind is the source of all actions. If we want to change our world, we must begin with our thoughts. The way we think shapes the way we act. If our thoughts are clouded with negativity, doubt, or anger, our actions will be the same. But if we can cultivate thoughts of love, compassion, and understanding, our actions will change as well. And when our actions change, the world around us changes. It's like a garden. If you plant weeds, you will get weeds. If you plant flowers, you will get flowers. Karma doesn't discriminate. It applies to everyone, everywhere. It's not about good or bad people. It's about the energy behind the action. You may see someone who seems to get away with bad actions, but remember, the seed they are planting will eventually bear fruit. The same is true for good actions. You may not see the results right away, but trust that the good you are doing is making a difference. It's not about the immediate payoff. It's about the long-term effect of your actions. But there's something important to remember here. Karma is not a form of punishment. It's not about being judged by some higher power. It's simply the natural law of cause and effect. Just like the law of gravity, karma is a principle that governs the universe. If you jump off a building, gravity will pull you down. It's not personal, it's just the way it works. Similarly, the actions you take, the energy you put into the world, will return to you. It's not about good or bad, it's about balance. One of the most powerful ways to change the world is to change the way we think. When we shift our mindset from fear to love, from anger to compassion, from selfishness to generosity, we begin to change the energy around us. And that energy, in turn, changes the world. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples spread out, affecting everything they touch. Your positive actions, no matter how small, create ripples that can change the world. Karma teaches us that we are all connected. Everything we do affects everyone else. When we harm others, we harm ourselves. When we help others, we help ourselves. There is no separation between us. The energy we put into the world comes back to us, whether we see it right away or not. And in this interconnected web of life, we are all part of something greater. Our actions matter. They matter more than we think. So, what does this mean for us today? It means that every thought, word, and action we have is an opportunity to plant a good seed. We can't control everything that happens in our lives, but we can control how we respond. We can choose to respond with love, with kindness, with patience. Every day, we have the chance to make a positive impact on the world. And the more we do this, the more we create a life filled with peace, joy, and abundance. As we walk through life, we are constantly sowing seeds. Every step we take, every breath we make, is a seed being planted in the soil of our lives. What kind of seeds are you planting today? Are they seeds of love, kindness, and compassion? Or are they seeds of anger, resentment, and fear? The seeds you plant today will shape your tomorrow. So, let's be mindful of the energy we create, the intentions we set, and the actions we take. Because in the end, it's not about the things we acquire or the success we achieve. It's about the seeds we sow and the love we leave behind. Detachment and desire, letting go to be free. Sit down, breathe slowly, feel the air go in and out. Let today's moment come to you as gently as the wind moves through the leaves. I will speak to you about something that causes much noise in your heart, even when the world outside is quiet. That something is desire, and its soft companion is detachment. Desire is not always loud. It doesn't always scream. Often it whispers. It shows up when you see something and think, if only I had that, I would be happy. It shows up when someone praises you and you want more. It shows up when you imagine a perfect life and cannot accept your real one. Desire says, chase this, get that, become this. And you obey. You run, not realizing you are running in circles. You climb, not knowing the mountain has no top. You search, forgetting that what you're looking for might already be inside you. Let me tell you a simple truth. Desire is endless. You give it one thing, and it asks for two more. You feed it, and it grows stronger. But here's the most painful part. Even when your desires are fulfilled, peace does not stay. Joy comes, but then it goes. Just like waves touching the shore and then pulling back into the ocean. You might think, but I need desire. Without it, I'll do nothing. I'll be nothing. That's not true. The Buddha never said to kill all desires. He taught us to understand them, to stop being slaves to them. There's a difference between needing food to live and craving for more food when you're already full. There's a difference between building a home and endlessly chasing a bigger house just to feel important. Desire ties us down. Imagine carrying a big bag full of stones on your back. Every desire adds another stone. Some stones are heavy, like jealousy, fear of losing something, or comparing yourself to others. You carry this weight every day and wonder why you are tired. Let go of just one stone and feel the lightness. Let go of another, and you begin to walk freely. Now, let me speak of detachment. People often think detachment means not caring. That's wrong. Detachment means caring deeply, but without clinging. You can love someone fully and still not try to control them. You can enjoy a moment without trying to hold it forever. You can work hard without being crushed if the result is not perfect. Detachment is a soft hand, not a closed fist. A flower held gently lasts longer than one squeezed tightly. Life is delicate. You cannot force it to stay still, but you can walk with it calmly, kindly, wisely. Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes from clinging. Clinging to people, to things, to ideas, to how we think life should be. He said, you only lose what you cling to. Think about that. The pain is not always in the loss. It's in the clinging. We suffer not because the world changes, but because we hoped it wouldn't. We all cling to something. You might cling to youth, but age will come. You might cling to beauty, but time will shape you differently. You might cling to a person, but they too are on their own path. Everything is always changing. That is nature. That is truth. And the more you resist it, the more you hurt. So what should we do? We accept. We observe. We let things come, and we let them go. Like watching clouds in the sky. You don't chase them. You don't cry when they pass. You simply watch. You breathe. You smile. That is the heart of detachment. Some say, if I stop desiring, life will be boring. No, my friend. Life becomes more peaceful. You begin to enjoy what you already have. You taste your food with full attention. You hear your loved ones with full presence. You wake up without fear of losing something. And when life changes, as it always will, you bend, but you do not break. Remember, detachment is not escaping life. It is seeing clearly. It is walking through the world without letting it stick to you. It is like walking through rain, but staying dry inside. The world is full of things to enjoy, but you do not need to own them. Like a traveler who sees a mountain, admires its beauty, but does not try to carry it home. Detachment also gives you great strength. When people hurt you, You are not shaken like a small boat in a storm. You are calm like a mountain. When plans fall apart, you are not lost. You are open to new paths. When praise comes, you smile. When blame comes, you remain steady. This is real freedom. You will still feel pain in life. That's part of being human. But detachment helps you not add more pain to the pain. You don't say, "Why me?" You say, "This too is part of the path." And you keep walking. To practice detachment, begin with small things. Notice your reactions. When you feel jealousy, ask yourself why. When you feel restless for more, breathe and wait. When you're afraid to lose something, hold it more gently. Start there. Don't rush. In time, your heart becomes like still water, reflecting everything but disturbed by nothing. You see clearly. You live softly. And you begin to understand what the Buddha meant when he said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. I will leave you with this." You don't need to run away from the world. You just need to stop clinging to it. Let life flow. Let moments pass. Let go and be free. Now breathe again. Let your shoulders drop. Smile gently. The lesson is not over. It has just begun to settle inside you. Meditation and mental discipline, tools of the Buddha. When you look at the world around you, do you see how fast everything moves? The noise, the distractions, the constant rush of thoughts and feelings. It can feel overwhelming at times. But in all this chaos, there's one simple, quiet tool that can help you find peace. This tool has been used for thousands of years, and it's called meditation. Buddha himself spoke of it, practiced it, then passed it on as one of the most powerful ways to calm the mind and transform suffering into wisdom. Imagine yourself sitting in a quiet room. The world outside continues to spin, but you are still. You close your eyes and begin to focus on your breath, the simple act of inhaling and exhaling. At first, it might feel difficult. Your mind might jump from one thought to another. You might find yourself remembering something from the past or worrying about the future. But in this moment, you bring your attention back to the breath. The in, the out. Slowly, as you keep returning to the breath, the thoughts become less important. They start to fade away, like clouds moving across the sky. What remains is a deep, calm awareness. This is the power of meditation. It trains the mind to let go of distractions and focus on the present. But meditation isn't just about sitting quietly. It's about creating a space in your life where you can observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. You start to see how fleeting they are, how much of the suffering in your life comes from holding on to things that don't last. You start to see that your thoughts are like waves in the ocean. They come and go, but they don't define you. You are the ocean, not the waves. Buddha spoke of meditation as a way to develop wisdom. It is through the practice of sitting quietly that we begin to understand the nature of our minds. We begin to see how our thoughts create our reality. When we meditate, we learn to observe without judgment. This means you don't get frustrated when your mind wanders. Instead, you simply notice it and gently bring your focus back to the breath. Over time, you begin to notice the space between your thoughts. This space is where true freedom lies. It's the moment when you're no longer a slave to your mind, but the master of it. In daily life, meditation teaches you to be present in whatever you do. When you walk mindfully. When you eat mindfully. You stop being on autopilot and start being truly aware of your actions. This simple awareness, this focus, transforms everything. You begin to see that you don't need to chase after happiness or try to control every part of your life. Instead, you start to cultivate a calm presence that allows life to unfold as it is, without resistance. But meditation is also about cultivating mental discipline. Mental discipline isn't about forcing your mind into a certain way of thinking. It's not about controlling or suppressing your emotions. Instead, it's about learning to be aware of them without letting them control you. It's about being able to face pain, frustration, anger, or fear, and acknowledging them without being overwhelmed. In this way, Mental discipline is an act of freedom. You learn to be with your emotions, but not be consumed by them. Think of your mind as a garden. If you let weeds grow, they can take over and choke the life out of your flowers. But if you cultivate the garden with care, pulling out the weeds as they come, you allow the flowers to grow freely. Meditation is like the gardener, working patiently with the mind, trimming away what isn't helpful, and nurturing what is. The more you practice, the more you begin to see your mind as a beautiful garden, full of potential, instead of a wild jungle that you can't control. Buddha taught that the mind is the source of all suffering and the source of all freedom. Meditation is the key to unlocking the door to that freedom. When you sit in meditation, you're not just practicing for the sake of practice. You're training yourself to see things as they truly are. You are cultivating the ability to face life's challenges with wisdom, patience, and compassion. You're learning to let go of the attachments and desires that create suffering. And you're learning to embrace the present moment as the only moment that truly exists. In meditation, there are no shortcuts. It takes time, patience, and dedication. But the results are worth it. As you practice, you will begin to feel a sense of peace that was always there, waiting for you to discover it. You will notice that the things that used to bother you, those little irritations, the worries, the stress, no longer have the same power over you. You will start to feel more grounded, more centered, and more connected to the world around you. Meditation also helps to develop compassion. When you quiet the mind, you open the heart. And when the heart is open, you see the suffering of others more clearly. You feel a deep sense of connection to them, as if their pain is your pain. This understanding brings a natural desire to help, to ease their suffering, to be a source of comfort and kindness in a world that can often feel harsh and cold. Through meditation, you begin to experience the truth that Buddha taught, that the mind can be a source of liberation or a source of bondage. When we're lost in our thoughts, our worries, and our desires, we are trapped. But when we learn to calm the mind, to let go of attachment, and to observe without judgment, we are free. Free to live fully, to love deeply, and to experience life as it is, without the filter of our own suffering. Buddha also said, "Your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart to give yourself to it." Meditation helps you discover your true nature, what really matters to you, what your heart longs for. And once you know that, once you have touched the depths of your own being, you can give yourself completely to the world with no fear, no hesitation. Meditation is not just for monks or spiritual seekers. It is for everyone. It is a tool that could transform your life, no matter who you are or where you come from. Whether you're dealing with stress, anxiety, pain, or just the busyness of modern life, meditation gives you the space to find clarity, to find peace, and to find your true self. It brings you back to what is important and helps you let go of what isn't. So, the next time you find yourself overwhelmed, remember this: you have the power to calm your mind. You have the power to sit quietly and let go of the distractions that keep you from the peace that's always been inside you. Meditation is not just a practice, it is a way of life. And through it, you can experience the freedom that Buddha spoke of, the freedom from suffering, from fear, from desire, and from the constant noise of the mind. As you meditate, remember, it is not about achieving something. It is about discovering what is already there, your true, unchanging nature. And when you discover it, you realize that you have everything you need to live a life full of peace, wisdom, and love. The journey continues, living the lessons daily. As we come to the end of this journey, it's important to remember that the lessons we've explored are not just ideas to think about. They are truths to live by. Buddha's teachings are not a one-time understanding, but a lifelong practice. This final part isn't the end. It's simply a new beginning, one where you can start applying the wisdom you've learned. We've talked about suffering and its causes, about the middle way, about the Four Noble Truths, and the Eightfold Path. We've touched on mindfulness, karma, and compassion. All these teachings form a beautiful, interconnected whole that isn't meant to be stored in the mind alone. They need to be felt in the heart, practiced with every breath, and lived out in every action. You see, life doesn't stop just because you've heard a few wise words. The real question is, what will you do with this wisdom now? It's easy to feel inspired by Buddha's words when we hear them. It's easy to nod along in agreement when we talk about peace, love, and compassion. But the true test comes when we face the daily struggles of life. When things aren't going as we planned. When the world feels chaotic and uncertain. When our emotions are storming inside us. In those moments, the teachings of Buddha are not just philosophy. They become tools to help us stay calm, to help us find balance, and to help us grow. The path is not always smooth. It's not always easy. But with each step, the lessons become clearer, and you begin to see the world in a way that is free from unnecessary suffering. Living the Buddha's lessons doesn't mean you will become perfect, and that's okay. Perfection isn't the goal. Peace is. And peace is found in the small, everyday moments. It's found in how you respond to a stressful situation, in how you treat others, in how you care for yourself. It's found in the choices you make, even when no one is watching. The practice of mindfulness is one of the easiest ways to start living Buddhist teachings. Mindfulness means being fully present in each moment. It means paying attention to what's happening right now, without getting lost in regrets about the past or fears about the future. It's about accepting things as they are, rather than wishing they were different. In the stillness of mindfulness, you begin to understand that you don't have to react to every thought and feeling. You can observe them, acknowledge them, and let them pass. In that moment, you are free. Karma is another lesson that applies to our daily lives. It's the simple understanding that our actions, whether good or bad, have consequences. The energy we put into the world comes back to us. If we live with kindness and compassion, we create a world filled with kindness and compassion. If we live with anger and negativity, that's the world we will experience. Karma doesn't punish us. It teaches us. It helps us understand that our choices matter. And it's not just about what we do to others. It's also about what we do to ourselves. How we treat ourselves, our minds, and our bodies is just as important as how we treat the people around us. And then there's the power of compassion. It's easy to be compassionate when life is smooth, when everyone around you is kind and loving. But compassion is truly tested when things get difficult. When someone hurts you, when someone doesn't understand you, when the world feels indifferent. True compassion doesn't mean agreeing with others. It doesn't mean you have to fix everything. It simply means holding space for others, acknowledging their pain, and wishing them well. In doing so, you also heal your own heart. Another key aspect of living Buddhist teachings is the idea of non-attachment. This doesn't mean you don't care about things. It means you don't cling to them. You can love your family, your friends, your work, and your possessions, but you don't need them to define who you are. You don't need them to give you happiness. When you let go of the need to hold on to things, you free yourself. You begin to realize that everything is temporary. People, situations, even life itself. But this doesn't make life less meaningful. In fact, it makes it more precious. Because when you understand that nothing lasts forever, you begin to appreciate it more. Now, let's talk about the practice of meditation. Many people think meditation is just about sitting still and clearing the mind. But so much more than that. Meditation is about training the mind. It's about developing the ability to stay present and focused. It's about creating space between you and your thoughts so that you can respond with clarity and wisdom rather than reacting out of habit. Meditation teaches you how to be with yourself without judgment, without expectation. It helps you connect with your true nature, the stillness within you that is always there, even when life feels overwhelming. But meditation isn't just about sitting on a cushion. It's about bringing that awareness into every aspect of your life. When you wash dishes, can you be fully present with the warm water and the sound of the plates? When you walk down the street, can you feel the earth beneath your feet, the air on your skin? When you speak with someone, can you truly listen without rushing to respond? These small moments of mindfulness add up, and over time, they change the way you experience the world. As you live these teachings, you'll notice that your relationship with yourself begins to shift. You start to treat yourself with more kindness and patience. You stop criticizing yourself for every mistake. You understand that you, too, are a work in progress, just like everyone else. You begin to accept your imperfections and see them as part of your journey, not as obstacles to your happiness. But there's one final, important lesson we must remember. Buddha never promised that the path would be easy. The road to enlightenment is not without its challenges. But he also said, you yourself must strive. This means that you are the one who has the power to change your life. The teachings are here, but it's up to you to apply them. It's up to you to decide how you want to live, how you want to experience the world. So, as we reach the end of this series, remember, the journey doesn't end here. It continues in your every thought, every action, every moment. You are the creator of your own path. You are the one who chooses peace over chaos, love over fear, wisdom over ignorance. You are the one who can make the world a better place, simply by living the lessons of the Buddha. Now, I invite you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the stillness within you. Let it remind you that peace is always accessible. Let it remind you that, just like the Buddha, you too have the ability to live a life free from suffering. Every step you take on this path brings you closer to that truth. And the beauty of this journey is that it never truly ends. Thank you for walking this path with us. And remember, every moment is an opportunity to live the lessons Buddha has left for us. Keep going, keep learning, and keep growing. Namo Buddhai.